Hello and welcome back to another episode of SuggesTing. Today we're looking at a game based 2 years after an apocalypse caused by an infection. Kind of opposite of relevance at the moment. But join me, Deacon St. John, and Boozman and say if we'll be SuggesTing by Days Gone. Oh man, that was terrible. Let's just go with it.
I feel my beliefs and hope surrendering, but I know
Zombies, and well, more zombies. This game received quite a bit of negative press. Were these critics suffering from a mixture of bad mechanics and or zombie fatigue? It is worth noting this game came out right at the end of a huge phase of zombie titles. Now is it unique enough to set it apart from the rest? Days Gone is a post-apocalyptic, zombie horde-filled survival story experience. You follow Deacon St. John as he deals with life 2 years after all hell is let loose in the world. And you're a drifter, which is great because you get to go around on the area on a motorbike, dealing with all kinds of what they call freakers. There are two huge aspects, which is riding your badass drifter bike and shooting. Let's start off with the riding. In this game, there is one constant, something you'll always be doing no matter what your playstyle, and that is riding your hog. That doesn't quite sound right, my accent. It's customizable, which is awesome. It plays a vital role in how you play, whether it's going from mission to mission, an exit strategy when you're fighting a horde, or just all-round fun running around doing jumps, and when you're really fed up, going straight through a freaker. Let's talk about the drifter bike. I don't normally care about really where you get around a map unless it's a horse. And they usually get attached, and we have horses here where I live, and I just love them. So usually when it's anything but that, I'm like, it just gets me A to B, whatever. But in this case, I actually got really attached to my drifter bike with all the customizations, saving my neck so many times. And you guys know I'm a giant wuss. The idea of being stuck next to a horde with no fuel is terrifying. But that leads me to my next point. Fuel, this can get really tedious when you compare it to other experiences. I found myself stopping for fuel so many times in the journey. It can be upgraded, it does get better, but at least the early to mid game, quite painful. I often found myself going, I don't need that final 10%, I got a 90% of the tank, I can make this journey, and then I end up rolling down a hill, not touching the throttle on the final 1%, hoping it will last 200 meters. It doesn't, and then I end up pushing it. All in all though, I think I only broke down properly twice, because I learned where all the fuel was. Jerry cans, or just cans of fuel, they actually respawn, and they are always full. So you end up learning where everything is, so it doesn't happen too often. The upgrades to your bike have a lot of meaning, not just with speed and durability, but fuel capacity, ammo satchels. And when you get those, you're no longer going back to the camp every other minute, because now I'm rocking an LMG, SMG, and a Tommy gun, with a collective total of over 700 bullets, which could be filled up to, I think in the end, 4 times, which is awesome. There's also a reputation system, and this is your incentive to get everything done, and every camp has something it's good at, be it weapons or bike upgrades, and I'm going to repeat this later, but trust me, get level 3 trust with everyone, because I guarantee it's worth it. The environments are heavily varied. You will travel through forests, barren, almost canyon-like areas, along with some peaceful countryside, and of course, as my usual favourite, mountain areas. But I'd be lying if I said that's my favourite place to be, because damn, hordes can be awkward with weird terrain. But the areas are called Cascade Region, is where you find Copeland's Camp, Belknap Region, which is where you find Tucker's Hot Springs, Lost Lake Region, where you find Iron Mike's Camp, and then the final area, which is Crater Lake, and that place is a goddamn fortress. If there was any place I could actually get a full night's sleep, it would be there. There are plenty of things to do whilst out and about, and whether or not you see this as a nice extra or busy work, well, that's up to you. There are hordes and Nero checkpoints. These are great, they provide a unique challenge, and with the Nero checkpoints in particular, you'll often find a recorder detailing some of the stuff there, and helps give further insight into what is either happening right now, or how it all broke down in the first place, or their latest info on freakers. And one thing that got me was when they realized their digestion had adapted, so as a result, they didn't just rely on humans, which means they'll be around much longer after all the survivors are dead. So basically, we can't just hide for years. Damn! Infestations, I have a mixed feelings on these, and on a gameplay front, they're great, but at the start, these are where you throw a Molotov and run. By the end of it, I'm staying here, watching you all burn, and killing the rest that run out. But some are located in pretty nasty places. You need to be really careful when you take them on. Daytime is the best because most freakers are hibernating, so you encounter less resistance on your way over there. One type of infestation I hate is those damn cryo ones, the ones in the trees. These are infected crows, and their nests are just the most annoying giant waste of Molotovs. They're often in clusters of 5 or 6, sometimes 7, and it's just, I couldn't find enough beer bottles to deal with them. By the way, after the stream, I actually went around and finished all those. But oh my god, I don't use my napalm Molotovs on those, and that was upsetting me, because they are so good on hordes. There are also ambush, marauders, drifters, rippers, and anarchist camps. If I had to pick anything I disliked, it was these, because generally they felt like they were in the way and a waste of my supplies more than anything else. As you can imagine, you go in, kill some people, be it stealthy or not so stealthy, and then maybe find a bunker to update your map. It gives an insight into the world, and most zombie-like experiences, the worst thing out here is people. But damn, hordes, breakers, and reachers really question that. And more about that in the next section though. Well, how do I explain the fighting in this game? It takes time to build up to it. If you'd ask for my opinion of this game's gunplay compared to the end, while some bugbears still remained, it improves massively. At the start, I had 2 big problems. The reticle is such a big area, and I know they probably use it to explain an inaccurate gun, but there are times where I felt like I had someone straight in the head, and then I'd shoot them in the chest, and then the other problem I would have was some kind of weird acceleration. You know, it took a slight build up to get the full speed, so when you're holding left, you're like going slow, and then suddenly it picks up. And often I'd end up massively over-aiming, and then trying to compensate, and then over-aiming again. At first, just made me feel I was bad at the game. Here I am aiming for headshots with maybe 20% of the head not in the reticle, and it still misses. And frustrating is an understatement. This later on becomes no problem at all. If you're here to find out if the game is worth buying, 1, watch this video, and 2, put all your skills at first into the ranged skill tree, because when you get better at aiming, focus shot as well, many different ways to help control the gun, it is night and day, which to me was the worst part of the game, became the game's best. In the skill tree, there are 3 paths you can go down. Survival, which is based on crafting and collecting resources. Range, which is all about gunplay and all its aspects, which by the way, you should focus first. Then there's the melee section, which can help you get out of a tight situation. For example, the chance to crit while hitting is a lovely ability and really will save you and save the durability of your weapons. Hordes. If I don't talk about this, I'm missing one of the game's biggest unique points, because how many games honestly let you go and bump into and track anything from 50 to hundreds of freakers? Taking these guys down takes actual strategy, supplies, and then iron will to kill every damn freaker that dares challenge you. What I will say though is in the early game, these guys are either impossible because of the lack of weapons, or just simply not enough ammunition. They also make you question every encounter, because it happened a few times where I thought, I'll just kill these 10 guys around here. Without realizing, I shot within the range of a horde, and now I have 100 chasing me. I ran past my bike. Can I even survive this? I often found these guys next to impossible to deal with, unless I was prepared to do so. Because simply put, if you don't have enough bullets, you aren't going to kill them. But some items certainly help level the playing field. For me, it was the attractor, which would have them absolutely swarming that singular spot, then followed up with a napalm Molotov, and oh boy did that burn. I think one time I had 50 confirmed kills, and that is bonkers. But hey, there are so many different options, so let's list them off. Attractor, attractor bomb, pipe bomb, grenade, Molotov, napalm Molotov, remote bomb, proximity bomb, bandages, health, stamina and focus cocktails, medkits, and many different bolt options for your crossbows, and I'm certain I missed a few, but the possibilities are endless. Hey, tell me your guys' style in the comment section below. Personally, attractor bomb, the attractor and a Molotov, and then just mowing down the crown with an LMG. But yeah, tell me yours. A funny thing to see, and not just in my playthrough, but others, is that slow change in someone's mindset from scared of a couple zombies, confined spaces, although that is something I never really got over, and the number of freakers. By the end of it, I'm literally hunting hordes, setting infestations on fire, and waiting for everyone to emerge so I can gun them down, and boy, was it fun. But one thing that always caught me off guard was the Nero checkpoints. And why am I talking about that in the fighting segment, you say? Well, there are speakers dotted around the area which are then powered and announce your arrivals. If you didn't take them out before, I made this mistake only a couple times, and one of them, I can't just explain the gravity of this area. If you've played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I didn't get every speaker at the Nero site at the sawmill. My god, I have never panicked so hard as I did in that moment. So, even when you get great weapons and abilities, and there's still that moment of panic when you weren't ready to fight. Let's talk about the enemies you will face, and then I'll tell you about the two that were absolute arseholes to deal with. Freakers, Swarmers, Nudes, Bleachers, Screamers, Breakers, Marauders, Anarchists, Rippers, technically Nero personnel, followed by Animals, Bears, Wolves, and Cougars, and then some infected variants called Runners, Ragers, and Criers. Now, who did you guys hate? For me, it was those bloody Breakers and Reachers, and not always because they were hard to kill, but the sheer number of bullets required to kill them was absolutely insane, and luckily in the endgame, credits aren't an issue. They provide you with so many police cars to loot, which always have bullets. Stealth is a pretty valid option in this game, whether it's takedowns, silent kills with a melee weapon, or using a suppressor. You always know that if you go loud, expect to bring a lot of freakers on you. But in the end, I got so cocky with my own ability, I just wanted to kill every damn one of them. And with a bike nearby for a quick getaway, it's a nice incentive to go crazy. But you know what else is a nice incentive to go crazy? The story. How about that for a segue? It starts off and everything's going to hell. Your wife Sarah has been stabbed and it doesn't look good. Everything is burning, people are losing their minds and already turning their attention on the non-infected out of panic. It's all pretty sad as everyone is having to cross the boundaries of morality, but it ends with you putting Sarah on a Nero National Emergency Response Operation helicopter. I thought I'd clarify that because we're going to be saying the word Nero a lot. And then it cuts back to the present. Deacon said John and Boozman, what a duo. You start off in a tutorial experience where you track and then chase down a guy who murdered someone you knew. One thing that immediately struck me was the amount of freakers that are running around, and there was just no reaction from any of the cast. It gives you a bit of an emphasis on how numb they can get to it all. You get the guy, decide to kill him, and not leave him to the freakers, and it's here where you first see what a horde looks like. You ride up with Boozer, your bike is damaged, and while you're still doing a stealth segment with Boozer, he's then captured by this guy called Rippers, and they are blowtorching his arm up, and I must admit, it was hard to watch. After, you head back to your bike and realize it's gone, and you have an idea it was a local camp, and your lovely drifter bike was parted out! The real reason though is obviously because they wanted to show you what your bike is capable of, and then make you work to attain it. Still sucks though. You then do what you can to help Boozer survive because that burn looks nasty as hell. You see the local camp and the head of it is a man called Copeland. He's a typical conspiracy nut. We all know one and he's voiced by Crispin Freeman. And while we're on about voice actors, Sam Witwer has done an amazing job with Deacon. Yes, I'm a fanboy, he's Star Killer and Darth Maul, but guys, trust me. You're going around doing your thing when suddenly you hear a Nero chopper going over you and you follow it. These stealth segments are generally pretty bad. If I had a least favourite part of the game, it was these mechanics. However, the lore that you find out with these is absolutely awesome. But when you're listening in and you're talking about their roster, and you hear a casual, no, that's O'Brien. So it sets Deacon off into thinking, could that be the same one? Because it's currently believed that their refugee camp was overrun, and Sarah, along with everyone else, died there. Something you do quite often is visit Sarah's memorial stone, which will have you telling her recent events or reminiscing in the past, and in this case, it's revisiting events of the night you pushed her on the chopper. And while you're going through those memories, yet another Nero flies over you, and they're experimenting, testing as usual, but it's cut short by a horde and they're chased off. You investigate and get a handy injector, which lets you boost your focus, stamina, or health. You have a touching flashback of Deacon with Sarah, and it helps shed some light on what they were like before this all went down, so when you draw comparisons to now, you can see how much he's changed. Then you save someone who oddly reminds you of Sarah's little sister, you take her to Ricky, who is in a camp you used to be in. Eventually you realise that Boozer isn't getting any better. Every time you come back, he's sweating, feverish, and one time he almost shot you with his shotgun, and you decide to head back to the camp you used to stay in, run by a guy called Iron Mike, known as Lost Lake Camp. You sneak in to grab some meds, but in the end, you accept that Boozer needs actual care and attention from a trained professional. You do various runs to help out Ricky and Addie. They're both great. Skizzo could suck one, but otherwise, it's a nice place to be. Now it starts to go all crazy. You meet up with O'Brien, he'll help track down information on Sarah, but in return you'll be given coordinates of nearer research visits. You place trackers, even record conversations, which can help you learn a lot more about the Freakers. Deacon also wants to help the camp, so he talks about how you could seal up the caves where hordes hibernate. So you go about getting dynamite and get to know Iron Mike a lot better. I really did enjoy learning about people and what they were like before, seeing how much of a drastic turn they've taken just so they could survive. There are a few characters in gaming where you immediately dislike someone. In Red Dead Redemption 2 it was Micah, and in this game it's bloody Schizo. He looks and sounds like an asshole, and the more you interact with him, the more I hate him. Everything he does is trying to create a wedge in the group, and much against Iron Mike's wishes, he gives you the location of much needed meds that were in a plane crash, which is currently located in Ripper territory. However, due to their treaty, they aren't allowed to go there. You ignore this, and with the help of Schizo and a few dead Rippers, you grab the meds. Despite all the work you and Addy do, Boozer has to lose the arm, and you can just see the guilt on Deacon. You do the odd visit on Boozer to see how he is, and it's sad to see such a tough guy. Deacon's rock, depressed, and struggling to change. Who comes calling though? Schizo for a mission, to get some fuels for the dynamite you got. Being stuck in the mines with someone like him is my worst nightmare. He is told straight away, do not shoot, whatever you do, because it will ring through the mine, letting everyone know that we are there. And after what is a rather annoying chase segment, you hear Schizo shooting up the place. And much against my best attempts, we can't let him die. And why, you ask? Well, it would be hard to prove we didn't do it on purpose. You escape, and yet again, he's trying to pit people against each other. Boozer, unable to deal with everything, goes on a big old drinking, hiking session. And you eventually track him down. It's so nice to see how strong their bond really is. And next is my favourite wholesome mission. While you're out looking for doggos, you hear the saddest whimper of a trapped pupper and a freaker trying to break in. I have never killed anything so fast in my life. Plus the sheer joy on Boozer's face when you give it to him. I'm just going to show you guys the clip.
Okay. Hey, oh, easy. Hey, hold on. Huh? Where'd you come from?
Don't look at me.
Yeah. Hey, you look a little thirsty. Let's get you some water. How's that sound?
It's just adorable. Schizo is back again, but now I'm going to really skip through the story because, as you guys know, I get carried away, I can't help myself, I write too much. You go into Ripper territory, you're betrayed, held captive. Turns out Carlos was actually Jesse before everything went down, and he is in the same gang as you and Boozer. You escape, Lost Lake's under attack, which ends with Schizo in a cell, and you even get a chance to gloat. Obviously, I did. You then decide to take the fight to the Rippers with Boozer, use dynamite to blow up a dam and flood them out, which works a treat, and it ends with the Rippers and their leader Carlos dead. Deacon couldn't help but feel a little bit bad for what they did to him and his back because that looked really painful. You then meet with O'Brien again to find out that Sarah had clearance level. We know that she was at a base on Crater Lake until it was overrun a year ago by a militia. So you say your goodbyes to the camp and Mike takes you over the pass. But it's here we enter the spoiler zone. If you don't want to know the juicy details, skip to the time frame below. You stumble upon the local militia, help them out and meet a guy called Captain Curry. He seems like a cool dude, a little dead inside but good intentions. You earn their trust and go to the main event, their fortress. It's absolutely crazy. If there was anywhere you wanted to be during an apocalypse, it's there. You get a tour to meet all the officers. There's Jimenez, who's the medic, Weaver, who's like their weapons specialist, but both warn you about the Witch of Wizard Island. And when you get there, it's freaking Sarah. Both of them are in disbelief. Now they have to kind of learn how to act around each other again. However, she will not leave with you because she believes in the cause. Heartbroken, but Deacon is determined to stay with her, so that means fighting as hell for a little while longer. You'll continue to do runs for everyone. Jimenez needs medical supplies, Weaver needs chemicals, and oddly enough, polystyrene. Like you see in the deliveries to make this weapon more deadly, napalm molotovs, and oh boy does it stick. You get supplies and equipment for Sarah because she's desperate to try and find a cure, not a bioweapon like the Colonel wants. And by the way, guys like him freak me the F out. He does dawn speeches every dawn, and he's going on these huge religious and righteous tirades. It's horrifying. Later on you go to Sarah's old work, which is back near Lost Lake. It's really cool to see Deacon, who claims he's a drifter and no attachment, gets so excited when he hears Lost Lake talking between each other on the comms. And once you're there, you realise it's actually a fortress because it has crops, electrified fences. That means this whole place has been untouched. This lab, however, has been under the control of the security guards, unwilling to listen to Sarah. You break in, deal with them, and then she learns that the virus that caused this whole mess started here. And she's so upset at this prospect because someone she worked with was certain of this. He broke in, grabbed evidence, and went to a conference, which is where the whole breakout started. And he was essentially patient zero. You have a pretty saucy moment in a log cabin and head back to Wizard Island. You make a plan to get back, but since Jimenez was killed earlier, the Colonel has gotten paranoid, locking all the officers away into the Ark. So, getting her out is much harder. You make a deal with O'Brien to have her airlifted out, but you need to do a favour, and it sucks. One of the scariest parts of me, it ends with you fighting a horde, trapped in a cave with a damn Reacher. Thanks for that, but hey, it's all agreed, you're about to get her to escape, Weaver even lets you go, and then you're taking all the guards on the way at the top, and then you're caught by the Colonel, who's giving a tour to who? Skizzo, for God's sake. Skizzo! He lies about your past, with the helicopter flying over, you're captured, and Kuri takes you away. You wake up and everything makes sense to Kuri. He realizes you were there for your wife, he's a good dude, and more importantly, he knows the Colonel is nuts, so you know what you have to do. And that's save Sarah. You head back to Lost Lake, devise a plan with Boozer to blow up the main gate with a giant ass truck bomb, and then have people take the other side when their attention is diverted. This is where I really hope you guys had level 3 trust with everyone, by the way, because this scene just means so much more. Everyone comes to join the attack as a thank you for everything you've done for them. Copeland, Lost Lake, Tuckers, they're all out in full force. You take the truck down with Boozer, you jump out so you don't get hit, and then you can kind of see Boozer struggle to tie the rope down, and then he doesn't jump. Is he dead? Like, for once I would like to not have my heart ripped out of my goddamn chest. But hey, that's what I get for caring. You fight your way up, and damn, killing Skizzo was so satisfying. Screw you, Skizzo. You get to where Sarah is, and she's sat with the Colonel. I think everyone there has realised that he's lost his mind. She shakes her head when you're about to drink the tea, so you don't, and then boom, the Colonel drops. He's been poisoned by Sarah. They surrender, it's all over, and who comes up as you try not to cry? Boozer. Talk about a goddamn roller coaster. Seemingly with everything happily ever after, there are some secret endings. One is Iron Mike's funeral, another is seeing the girl who reminds Deacon of Sarah's older sister, and she's killing it, by the way, on her own, taking bounties. The final one is crazy, guys. You go to see O'Brien. By the way, this activates randomly, just so you know, so just when you beat the game, drive around. Just keep driving until he contacts you. But you go to talk to him. And he warns you how this is all the beginning and it's going to get much worse. And when you don't take it seriously, he takes his hat visor thing off and he's infected. It seems that the heads at Nero are instigating all of this and using it to enhance them or something. And this explains suddenly why they all have blacked out visors. At the start of the game, you notice that you can see his face, but after that, you can't see anything. And I was just left there thinking, what the fuck? Oh, Days Gone. Critically shamed when it came out, and I even noticed, a year after its release, I still had people coming into my stream and asking, is this game actually any good? We all know the shooting isn't fantastic. It does improve, and by the end of it, it's a fun zombie shooter experience with a good story. And I'll take any excuse to listen to Sam Witwer's work, and for £15, how can I not? Yes, I'm SuggesTing Days Gone.
And I just wanna